give you the technological perspective of assessment strategy. So that's my own role now, right? I'm the computer person, right? But I've also worked with educators. In my past life, I helped lecturers on some universities. Another way to say it. I have helped lecturers of universities take their content from the classroom and put it in an e-learning format, right? And when you take content from physical classroom to e-learning format, changes happen. And to enable those changes and to make sure that they deliver the outcomes, you have something called an instructional design. And so Greatly has worked with instructional designers, myself actually being one, to bring together technology that will help you do that job. That marking job that you said that is too much, it's too stressful, that does not make you do assessments 100 times. Those questions that you don't have, that you have to go and create yourself in the middle of the night, Greatly is now solving that problem. But I will just talk about assessment strategies for better learning outcomes in technological perspective. Are we good? Let's go straight. Next slide. Just arrow. Yes. So what's the purpose of assessment? So I'm summarizing what everybody has said. The purpose of assessment is to evaluate student understanding, to evaluate student knowledge, to evaluate that they have learned what you taught them, right? Now, I want to say something before I get to formative assessment strategy. That in Greatly, we believe in something called adaptive learning or adaptive teaching, meaning that you need to adapt your classroom to every child. It is difficult to do without technology, I assure you, but the mindset needs to be absorbed first. And what is the mindset? The mindset is that unless you identify a gap, or unless the child himself is aware of a gap, you have not gotten the permission to start teaching. The thinking that you came to a class and everybody's sitting down and therefore you already have their permission is false. It's false. The time when you get their permission is when you make it clear to them that there's something about how the world works that they do not know that will be helpful to them. Let me give you a private example, and that's where the idea of pre-assessment comes in. One of our teachers in secondary school told us about, talked about refraction, talked about like the expansion of items due to temperature, like expansion of studied items. And before the class, told us to do one thing, told us a particular glass cup, right? Put it in the fridge or the freezer overnight. The next morning, boil water and then put the water in it. When we did it, everybody came with different results. But the best outcomes was that the bottom of the cup just came out. And so he started his class. By the time he was going to start his class, he already had permission from all of us to understand why our glass broke the way they broke. That is how adaptive learning mindset is. I can't go, this is not an adaptive learning session. We usually have this session, we probably had it before. But let's talk about formative assessment strategies. So I want to discuss 3 types of formative assessment strategies. The first one is discussion and interview. Second one is projects and tasks. And the third one is tests and quizzes. Now, I've helped you to identify, because I know many of us are like, is it feedback, question? What kind of question, what format of assessment are you delivering right now? If you are doing oral feedback assessment, that's under discussion. So you are asking them, tell me what you have learned. Like Mr. Rico said, talk to each other and explain it to each other. And then I will now put representative and say, you come and explain what the group said, right? That peer method is a sub-component of discussion and interviews. You want to interrogate them. You want to interrogate them. You know, you can tell them to come one by one and explain what they mean by, explain what you mean by, and then they all answer. Let's go straight. So how does technology help this? Well, I'm talking about how technology helps all of them. On Greatly, and ignore this sample text if you can see, but essentially, on Greatly, what we have done is that we've built a learning management system that allows you to, that helps schools transition from only offline learning to a combination of offline and digital learning, which is called blended learning, right? Or hybrid learning. And on that platform, what you can then do is that we have schools on the platform, I have over 500 schools on the platform, and they're growing every day. And one of the things that you find is that teachers can have discussions in the night, in the evening, in the afternoon, on the weekends, and use that discussion as a way to elicit feedback about knowledge, right? So it says, we discuss the history of Second World War, this. Can any of you explain to me what you think would have been the case within the existing government structures of today if such an action was carried out, as it did that last time? What would be the outcome? Everybody starts discussing. Then that discussion leads to a forum. Then everybody is replying. Everybody is replying. And it's also possible to take that a step further. So next thing is in projects and tasks. Next thing is take it a step further. Tell the children to create a video. I have a parent. The parent does every Friday with her children. She has like 4 children. She's a no-nonsense parent. A tiger mom. She has like 4 children. Every Friday they do PowerPoint presentation. Every Friday. She homeschooled some of them to GSS 3, so you can imagine that type of they do PowerPoint presentation about what they've learned during the house. So you can tell your children to do PowerPoint presentations, to do videos, right? And come and upload it on Gradely, and then you review all of them, and review them, give them feedback on each of them. So those are things that you can do online. And I'm talking about technology, right? Technological strategies, because not everything you can do in the classroom. Those 40 minutes are not enough. So you need to extend your classroom with technology, and then start to create conversations on the platform, right? And then share projects. So funny thing is, the Gloria Lendu is a tutor on Gradely, right? So she teaches private students, and she's one of the most engaging tutors on Gradely. And she gives them things to do, living things. You see the living things. Tell me which of these is the living thing. Point out the non-living thing, and you see those, and students respond to those pictures. So that's kind of how to do projects. So you need to think about what task and activity can I use to explain how to evaluate these children about what they know, right? What type of projects and tasks? Next thing is the one that we all know very well. But I want to tell you how technology can change, and not just technology generally, but Gradely enabled technology changes this significantly for teachers. And we're seeing the effect on thousands of teachers right now. Is that Gradely has worked with a community of teachers like yourself and developed reviewed questions on all the subjects in the curriculum, right? GSS 1, GSS 2, Primary 1, Primary 2, Primary 3, like that. Math, English, sciences, French, like that's what we're doing. There's 60,000 questions now. We're growing that to 120,000 before the end of this quarter, because we're doing some very special things. Schools, one of the things that happened, we started with math, English, and science, and school said it's not enough. So everybody wants, creative art wants, PhD wants, everybody wants. So essentially, we have to kind of expand that. But what that does is this, and this is the reason why we're putting those questions in the bank, is that when you get to Gradely and you want to create assessments, when teachers are here, they have access to Gradely. When you want to create assessment, you see questions waiting for you on based on the curriculum. The 10 topics of this term, you can see the questions on them. You just go and select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's mapped by difficulty, easy, medium, hard. So you can choose, just like textbooks. And when I was secondary school, there's a particular way they put all the hard questions at the bottom. What is word problems? So you can go and say, you know what, it's not easy, I'm giving these children, they know more than that. And another thing is that it's personalized, the testing is personalized. So you can decide to share it to all students, or you can choose specific students in the class. This assessment is for you. This assessment is for all of you. You guys are the ones that I have issues with this thing with, and I want to see what you have. And so you can either do that as a test, you can do that as a quiz, or of course, exams as well. Right? And the exams on Gradely are poked up, so meaning that you can find out if they're cheating without being there. So we're encouraging some of our schools to do exams at home. Try it will work. I know they're afraid, it will work. You don't have to vigilate, walk up and down. You know, the child is trying to use, one, you put the time, some people are looking at me, how will it work? It will work. I'm going to do it once. I want to do it, that experiment, we'll broadcast it, we'll document it, we'll share it with the world. And everybody was sitting down at home and they know their exam. Because even in the pandemic, university students did their exams as well. This school in the Atiku school, what's the name? After America, they did it on campus elements. They did the exam on campus elements in their houses. Right? So it's very possible. And Gradely even does as extra more than what Canvas has, because you can record video, audio, and mouse things to figure out whether they're cheating or not. Let's go to the next one. So let's talk about methodology. So we discussed the types of assessment strategies. See that it's not like there are so many, I don't know what to do. There's discussion and interviews, projects and tasks, and tests and quizzes, right? Now, well, how do you put this together, or or how does grading put it together to make sure that our teachers are getting the best? We want every child to learn on his own path, on his own journey. And so that self-paced learning, how we're enabling it. The four methodologies that we use is one, real-time analytics. This will change the entire school system because waiting for third term to see one of the most heartbreaking things, and in fact, that's how grading started. The story of grading is that I was in a secondary school in Lekki, and I was there to talk to them about another product, schools compass, where they're using to help them with their school. And the proprietor was, so I was not there for education or learning, I was there for helping them to make sure they make their revenue and meet their student numbers. But then the parent was downstairs and she was fuming. And as that parent was fuming, the reason why she was asking what's the reason, people were checking, the reason why she was angry is that she just saw a child's report card. The child got F twice. Unlike other teachers, this teacher did not pad the score so that you will not know the truth. That was another problem entirely. That when you find it in the IGCSE exam finally, when the child fails, right? But now the teacher said, you got F last term, you got F this term, mathematics, right? But then when the parents were fuming, the parents said that the Dubai trip is cancelled, all these things, that vacation is gone. So the proprietor heard and said, call the teacher, what happened? So he called the teacher and said, teacher, what happened? The teacher said, doesn't know. He was sitting down in front, but I couldn't sit down in front. He tried to make him more serious. I don't know. And I was like, that doesn't even sound correct. You don't know what. Okay, I started asking questions. How did you assess, what's the level of assessment that you did in the classroom? And how much, what does the child not understand in the topics that you're teaching? You cannot say it. Like that, can I say it offhand? It's not something I can say offhand. But it's true, and it's something you can say offhand. If I tell you, if I say the issue is that he doesn't know algebra, I say, what exactly in algebra does he not know? Can you say it? You can't say it if you are giving manual exams, manual tests, and you're not spending 2 weeks to go and mark it. You can't say it. You can't remember everything you mark. Not if you have a class that is more than 20. People that have 5 children in their class, they feel like I'm a boss. I remember one time I was in one school, we only have 5 children in our class, and they say, no, I know everything. Tolu, of course, it makes sense. But even then, it doesn't mean that you know it in depth. Mm-hmm. So let's look at methodologies that can drive home and empower the teacher to do the impossible. Because it's almost impossible to really adapt for hundreds of students at once. Seems impossible. Technology can enable it. And one way that you can is that the way it drills down, the way you see your assessment, the results of the children matter. So what if you are able to see, now in grading, everything is topic-based. So the concept of mastery is that what topic is this child to master, have they mastered? So when you create questions yourself, you add it to a topic. All the questions you created, they are all mapped to topics, whether it's Nigerian or British curriculum. So when your child takes that question, the system is saying this child is failing in this topic. And guess what? The questions are also mapped by difficulty levels. So on the system's own side, for the children, when they are learning on their own, because they can learn on their own on the platform, right? They can learn on their own. When they're learning on their own, if the child gets an easy question, guess what's coming next? A medium question. When the child gets a medium question, guess what's coming next? A difficult question. You want to know. When a difficult question is gotten right, another difficult question. When it's gotten right again, another difficult question. By the time you answer 6, 7, so you know this thing. That's how to know a child. And most people cannot achieve this in their classroom. Very difficult. So we create a way for you to analyze. So you see, I know it's not very clear, but you can see this is your whole class, and you can see the class performance by topics that they are excelling in your whole class, topics that they are struggling with. So you can see that in your class, in mathematics, there's 3 topics that are struggling with trigonometry, fractions. So just go straight to those topics and start to try to solve for struggling students. Do you understand? Because now you can tell that they're struggling. That's something that is difficult to do manually. Then you can then go to topic by topic in your class and see how many children are above average, how many children are below average. And you can drill in on each child. And on every child, you can see the topic that they are struggling with, the one that they are averaging, and the one that they are excelling, essentially. So that's very, very powerful, what that can do. And then, to support the work that you are doing in class, when you are creating homework, you are doing all these things, the system already has resources, right? And that resource, let me go straight first. Teacher recommended resources. So when a child does homework, what you see on grade is very interesting. You see 3 things on the homework assessment page. One, you see the graph for everybody that took that exam, right? That assessment, maybe 40%, right? The next thing you see, and I'm going to just show you briefly, and that's literally, I think, to me, the most powerful thing for in terms of helping struggling students. The next thing you see is students that got lower than 40% in that assessment, students that got low marks. And then the options available for you for those students is that you can create a remedial class instantly and schedule a remedial class that you will have on the system. The system has video conferencing capabilities inside of it, so you can do it inside the system. You don't have to go to Zoom. There's no Zoom when you're using Grade because everything is happening there. So you can create a remedial class and say, I want to see you guys after school today, 7 p.m. After you get home, have your lunch, have your dinner, and let's talk. And so all the students that are struggling in that assessment, you can do a remedial class for. Another thing you will see is teacher recommended resources. So in addition to having over 60,000 questions, we've also had, this one is the more difficult one. This one is right, they're probably the only, well, 1 out of 3 people that have video resources for learning in Nigeria. Right? So video animated videos for every topic from primary school up to university, up to secondary school. And we're doing nursery school as well, and pre-nursery, because we find out that that's also important. So teachers can click on recommend resources, and then they start to choose. The system will show you, that's how powerful the system is, showing you things. So maybe the assessment was on fractions, you pick fractions questions, right? You will now see that resources that will show to use fractions. And then you just say, what you just click is one click, recommend, that's all. And then the child will see it here, after school. So the child will go to the system, and when the first thing the child sees is recommended for you today, every day there's something recommended. In fact, you come tomorrow and you didn't do anything, and nothing will recommend, it just refresh itself. So essentially, the recommended for you today will be a combination of what the teacher recommended, and what the system knows about you and recommended. And they're usually animated videos. For primary school, it's very animated, secondary school, very animated. And some of the people here, it helped build some of the content we have. So you can see them, you teach it, explain Pythagoras theorem, you show it, you use illustrations. So they're supporting your work in that sense. So that's what happens after school. And then lastly, I mentioned remedial class. So this is a remedial class on grading. A teacher is teaching the child needs a parent to decide that. That's why it's here, 2 people are here. So the parent is there helping the child because they're a very young child, not really school child. So these are what happened on grading. Before I conclude, I want to show you a bit of it. So this is, can you see my screen? You can see it's very clear. So this is how it looks like. Let me just show you, this is how your feed looks like, right? So you have a teacher of primary 3, right? You have upcoming homework. You have your feed. The feed is like social media, so you can just see, scroll, see your timeline. The timeline has everything that's happening in class. This class seems to have taken a lot of tests, right? I think this is Gloria herself, right? She created a post, hello Ash and Mel, are 2 children. We have had a wonderful reading session. Here are some notes for you both and stuff like that. So I think I just refreshed. So essentially, you can see your feed. You can switch from feed view to library view, and so you can see everything in the form of all your assessments in one place, all your videos in one place, all your documents in one place, all your videos are here in one place. Right? Basic sentence videos. Right? And then you can see all your documents also in one place. Your library view. Right? Now I just want to show you library view. That's not the focus here. So you can see all your documents in one place as well. See your documents in one place. In the library view. Now, but when I as a teacher, I can see my members in my class, these are all my students. I can check my students' performance personally and click on the student and see what the children's performance look like individually. Right? See this child, right? Struggling with. If I go to last term, I'm probably going to see more things. The child is active in the system for last term. So you can check, you can switch by term and see where they're struggling last term, struggling this term. Even if the teacher has changed in school, you can have a sense of the child's performance. Yeah? So look at it, see the second term. So this is the child performance rank, excelling in money, measurement, average in waste time, struggling with. You see what I'm saying? Right? So let me go back to members of my class. I can view, this is what I was talking to you about. You can view your class reports. We are updating this as well, and eventually all of your assessment, everything can then feed into the school report automatically. what we're telling schools is that you can generate a report card with 1 click. But if you don't know your assessment here, you don't know you've done your exam here, right? And you've identified which one is considered as assessment, you don't need to go and manual. Some will go to computer lab and then start manually putting score 11/20. This one, the system is not because you've done it here, right? I'm not sure what. But let's just let me show you. Now I want to show you what teacher can do. But this is what your assessment looks like. So this is our assessment that we created in this class. You can see how many students did it, but how many students are in the whole class. Right? So you see one child has done it. If I click on it, you see the questions attempted. Where they struggle, I will show you. So this is how you add questions. But I want to just show you on this other app. So I'm adding questions at the teacher. So you're already here before. But what I'm showing you is that, so in this year 7 class, see my 2 classes, year 7 and 5. In year 7, here are my tests. I won't go to the test that was done by more than one person. Just show you something. This one was done by 2 people. My Gata's homework. When I click on Gata's homework, this is what happens. This is what I'm talking about. You see that Mr. Bailey suffered is not doing well, 22%. You can see that you can create a remedial class from here. See, Mr. Bailey, just for him. Right? And you schedule the class and you schedule it on the system. You can also recommend materials. So you see materials here. Right? So this is materials. This is a practice in LCM. This is a video in standard form approximation. Right? So all you have to do is just click recommend here. Done. Child is watching it inside. That's really powerful. And can you guys see what I'm talking about? Yeah. So let me just now so you can see the questions themselves. Which students struggle in this question? Round off 30.54, the nearest whole number. Mr. Great is this question. So look at JJ is that question, right? So you know exactly where the challenge is. That's the thing that technology can help you do. That you want to find out where is this challenge, and then you resolve it on and on like that, on and on like that, right? So I think I want to answer questions now because we're running up this session. But before I do that, let me show you. Let's create it. So these are the 4 things you can do. Questions? Are there questions? So the 4 things you do on this platform is, and I hope you're seeing some of this now. Great. So discussion, assessment, live class, let's see. Discussion is essentially hello everybody and anything else you want to type. You can add images here. You can add an image here. Pick the image from somewhere, right? And then attach it. Right? And once you attach it, you can publish it. So that's one thing you can do on the system. Right? Another thing you can do on the system is that you can create assessment that I just showed you, right? Okay, so can you still see my screen?
Yes.
So I want to show you how to create assessment, how easy it is. And this is the kind of thing that can make you do 50 assessments in one class. So that journey is punctuated with more and more assessment. So this is Teacher Academy assessment. Then the subject is math. The start date is today, for 1 week, but I can shift it, I can change the date based on what I want. I can publish for the next 3 weeks and start next 3 weeks, right? And I can decide whether it's an exam or a quiz or homework. I'll stick to homework now, right? And then I can assign it to specific students or all students. So if I see, I can choose the students. Just choose 1, 2, 3, like that. Always make sure that it is everybody, right? When I click on continue, this is what I was trying to show you earlier. So you can see these are mathematics, yes, 7, area of teaching. And the questions are here. Scroll, see them. Easy, medium, like that. You know, I go to previous stems and pick topic from there. I can see where the topic is. selective. Okay, so essentially, this is how to create questions. I just did that. Anyway, so let's go back. You try it yourself to see what you are saying, right? And then you can create live classes, you can create lessons. I think it's time for questions, answers. How does technology help you? How do you use what Gloria said? How do you use what Inesi has said? Thank you very much.